Good evening. Let us begin this wonderful scripture that we are studying, the Panchama Veda, the Gospel of Sri RamaKrishna. Tava kathamritam tattva jivanam kaviviriritam kalmashapaham Shravana Mangalam Srimadatam Bhubi Grinanti E Bhurida Janaha. This is a wonderful teaching. The book means full of teaching, and the teaching is very high standard of spirituality. So when one reads or hears, slowly, the mind also start acting on that, reflecting on that. And by that way, kalmasha, the sin. What is sin? The sin is selfishness. The self associated with this particular body, and the body-mind, that complex associated with the society, family, society, this present situation. Wrongly we think this is permanent, but that is wrong. So that way, when the pages after pages, when we go through, we become more and more convinced, and more we try to get out of that selfishness, which has been termed by Sri RamaKrishna as ego. The moment we are free from that ego, free from that selfishness, we are becoming pure, and we feel the joy of spirituality. That is the speciality of Bhagavan Sri RamaKrishna. And specialty is this: he is not sitting in one corner, in a remote corner, not talking with people, not mixing with people, not at all. He is going out, mixing with people, socializing. But at the same time, wherever he goes, he takes with him that flavor, that idea. Whenever he is meeting the people, talking with them, how are you? What is your idea about God? He is asking, and then he is discussing about that, helping them. We will find it over here. And the Sri Ramakrishna's Guru, this is the page 360 and onwards we'll be reading. The 63 today we are going to study. He mentioned in one of the conversation, the Kundalini is speedily awakened. I repeat, speedily awakened if one follows the path of bhakti. Imagine the concept of Kundalini, that is completely yogic concept. You know, in the Hinduism, there are different type of approaches to God, and one is the yoga. Yoga is withdrawing the mind, withdrawing the senses from the sense objects, and from there directing towards the higher goal. And when we try that, a power, latent power, that's called Kundalini Shakti. Shakti means power. And as because it is coiled up, they mentioned it as Kundalini, coiled up. And that such as up goes upwards. That is the conception of the yoga. Sri Ramakrishna mentioning that through bhakti, through devotion, one can awaken that power, latent power, very speedily. The Kundalini is speedily awakened if one follows the path of bhakti. Then he is quoting Ram Prasad, a famous tantric sage of Bengal, India. He achieved perfection through singing. And that is very interesting. Usually the spiritual practice means that you have to be like this, you have to practice like that. One person, he was fond of singing, and all the songs he composed and sang only for God. His expressions of devotion, his expression of prayer only through songs. So it says Ramaprasad achieved perfection through singing. One obtains the vision of God if one sings with yearning heart. This is important. See how the spirituality. Our goal is to reach to God. Our goal is to realize that peace, happiness, joy, eternal, and go beyond this limitation of selfishness, the limit that I belong to this particular family or this society, this country. Let's all go beyond that. It's very, very difficult. Majority of the people, they feel proud that we belong to these and these, and the human society fighting for thousands and thousands of years just because of that. And we are proud to say that we are patriots. And in each country, each nation, each people, they are practicing that patriotism and segregating themselves from others, becoming enemy to others, and for no reason. This is very peculiar. The moment some people are living together, they are giving a boundary. This is our area, and whatever we think we will do over here, we won't allow this people, we won't allow that people. And that way, and we are so proud. Pages of histories are full with this type of people. Stories of these. Great patriot, great hero. He killed so many people. But for what? That is the question. The spiritual person goes beyond these bondages, limitations. How? By knowledge. What is that knowledge? That soul is belonging to each and every one. And the moment he realizes that, a kind of love, affection comes. They also suffer. When you saw the mothers, maybe in different country, they speak different language, they eat different type of food, they wear different type of dresses. All things are different than me, but when I see the baby crying in the arm of the mother, is the same picture I see in our country too, in our society too. So that is the common thing everywhere. But here, Sri RamaKrishna is telling that you have to realize that. How? By raising your Kundalini. How? Through devotion. What is this devotion? One pointed prayer to God. I want to see you, I want to talk to you, I want to mix with you. That is called spirituality. How, in which language I am doing it doesn't matter at all. But the emotion, the urge, the yearning, that is the main interesting thing over here. That is most important. So this is called spirituality. Religion means list of do's and don'ts. A religion is nothing but the lower schools. The children are going to the lower schools. They have stipulated routine. You have to practice. You have to follow. You must. Guardians are also supporting that. Teachers are also encouraging them. And they are guided through that routine. But when they get that knowledge and become a knowledgeable person, nobody is going to give any rule to them. You have to attend the class in that and that. You have to attend these, you have to do this. Nothing is there. It's the knowledge. Wherever you are, same knowledge will help you. Spirituality is the summum bonum of religion. The spirituality is nothing but the culmination of religion. And we are so proud of religion. We never talk about the spirituality. And how we can become one when we understand this small thing, that religion is my school, but spirituality is a universal knowledge. The Sri RamaKrishna is talking every page of this book, the Gospel of Sri RamaKrishna, full with spirituality. And he is telling, see, in whatever way, as because he is talking with the Indian group of people, they understand this. So he is mentioning about the bhakti, devotion to God. And whatever food I am going to eat, I must offer to my God. Because he is my beloved. Without him, I cannot think of anything else. Whatever I am doing, the first thing should be my God. That is called devotion. In the night, in the day, in the awakened time, in the dream and sleep, each and every moment, go on thinking of that God, the full of love, compassion, and that devotion arises the Kundalini, and the effect of yoga I get. Another is just singing. Day and night he is singing. I cannot live without you. So that RamaPrasad also singing. And see, among the Hindus there are so many varieties of gods and goddesses. Mirabai, she was the devotee of Krishna. RamaPrasad was the devotee of Kali. And some people, they say, Kali and Krishna was totally different. Kali is terrible. Goddess Kali is killing. Krishna is best. Krishna is so good. Krishna also inspired Arjuna to kill. It is not the killing and all those. That is different thing. It is only the stories that goes. But the other thing is, Mirabai, through singing, through devotion, she reached to that Godhead. Krishna, mere to giridhari lal, dusra na koi. I do not understand anything else but my God, and whatever I see is nothing but the manifestation of my God. And RamaPrasad, in the other way, he was the devotee of Kali, and his expression was only Goddess Kali. He realized the same knowledge as Mirabai. What is the difference? Only I feel that when I am looking at the Krishna, I feel attracted. And whole mind goes to the Krishna. I am concentrated. So whatever I do for the Krishna. Go ahead. That is your God. That is your path. But don't criticize others. That is what Sri RamaKrishna is teaching. Don't criticize others. Because the God is also manifesting in different form. And when you are criticizing that particular form, you are criticizing God. So it's a God you are manifested, that is your thing. Where you will go, how you will bless the people, that I don't want. I want only to see you in this form. Please come to me in this form. That's all. God is omnipotent, omnipresent, all powerful, all merciful. So that is what Sri RamaKrishna is telling. And he is telling, but one thing, one person is telling, the grief and distress of mind disappear if one has this experience of God, realization of God. The grief, distresses, they go away. And Sri RamaKrishna is telling, this is true, distress of mind disappear forever. I shall tell you a few things about yoga. He is telling to his disciple, Master Mahashaya. I shall tell you a few things about yoga. The mother bird doesn't break the shell until the chick inside the egg is matured. He is talking about the yoga. Yoga means union. It's not meditation. The moment the Sri Ramakrishna is using this word yoga, I am going to tell you something about the yoga. This yoga means the union with God. And how one can become united with God, that he is mentioning. And he is giving the example, very easy example for particularly those people who used to live in that natural atmosphere. And he is telling, the mother bird doesn't break the shell until the chick inside the egg is matured. The egg is hatched in the fullness of time. It is necessary to practice some spiritual discipline. The guru, no doubt, does everything for the disciple, but at the end he makes the disciple work a little himself. That is important. Unless and until the disciple himself is practicing, I'm having a little cough, so I'm keeping a chocolate in mind. So that is, unless and until one is practicing, the disciple is striving, trying, the guru cannot help. So you must have to do something, the spiritual practice. Then he is giving another example, and very wonderful example. When cutting down a big tree, see, Sri Ramakrishna never did all these things, but he observed, very keen observer. Anything in the world, all these things that people are doing, the moment he used to see with a concentrated mind. The observation is so perfect. He saw how the people are cutting the big trees. Cutting down a big tree, a man cuts almost through the trunk. Then he stands aside for a moment, and the tree falls down with a crash. And they will be cutting in such a way, the side that he is standing, or he wants to fall the tree that side, he will cut in that way only. That is the technique that they know. And ultimately, the ultimate thing, he leaves over there in the trunk, and automatically, because of the heaviness of the tree and the air pressure, it falls. That is the try of the disciple. Disciple should try to ultimately to do that. And he is telling another way, a farmer bringing water to his field through a canal from the river. Here I have seen they are giving the water in the field as a huge thing. But the country like ours, they don't have that type of machineries. So they used to bring the water from the nearby canal, and they'll be digging a small channel that will come to the ultimately to his ground. He's mentioning in that way. He stands aside when only a little digging remained to be done to connect the field with the water. Then the earth became soaked and falls of itself, and the water of the river pours into the canal its torrents. From the canal the water is coming to the field automatically, but the last part he doesn't dig to connect. He could, but he just leaves aside, it becomes soaked and falls. That the disciple should try. He should meditate, he should practice. And this is a lifetime commitment. This is not just we go to a school and learn something and get some information. No, it's a lifetime commitment. Life after life it goes. Why? Because so many lives, Hindus they believe, so many lives we live, and all the impressions are there in our mind. So obviously, slowly, you have to eradicate those things. So you have to tell yourself, I'm on the right path. I'm going to receive God, realize God. I'm going to receive the blessings. I must strive. What is the spirituality? This knowledge. How? By practicing. They call it tapasya, tapas. Tapas means constant practices. What type of spiritual practices that we should do? The moment we think that spiritual practice, very simple, immediately we think that we should return to the forest, we won't talk to anyone. Not like that. Everything that we do, but at the same time, stipulated time should be there to get up, then get ready, come and sit, practice meditation for what, 1 hour, if possible 2 hours, without any pressure, and then read some holy books, chant from the holy scriptures, that's all. Then normal, you are going and taking the breakfast, attending all your duties. Again, whenever the little time is there, you open a good book and read from there and go on pondering on that, particularly the spiritual holy lives, how they realized God, inspiring lives. And then we are reading the Bhagavad Gita or some scripture like that, constantly, so many other things we are going on doing at the same time. If you have received the name, holy name of God from a particular holy man, go on repeating that mantra. It's called its mantra. The Sanskrit word mantra, mananat trayate iti mantra. Mananat means constant repetition. When you are going on repeating that mantra while you are driving, while you are working, while you are walking, just go on repeat that small half line, God's name, that's all. With a faith, with a belief, this is going to help me, that's all. And when you are going to bed in the night, just take the name of God, remember the name of God, and lie down. God, today the whole day is over, I couldn't practice much, please help me. Pray a little and go to sleep. Regular this routine slowly will transform you. How? You won't understand. But then you will feel your behavior, your nature, and your thinking capacity, discrimination capacity are changing. That is called spiritual practice. It's nothing miraculous, nothing mystical, very normal, simple thing. So this way he is telling that you have to go on. A man is able to see God. Sri RamaKrishna is very clear about it. As soon as he gets rid of ego, ahamkara. Aham means I. And that akara, that is taking the form, akara. I am, that ahamkara. But what is this I? Immediately I associate it with this body-mind complex. But this is temporary. After some day I am going to die. The people will bury me or burn me. Then where my ahamkara will go? Where that I-ness? Maybe if I am famous, if I am having some money, there will be some statues here and there, or some of the pictures will be hanging, or maybe I will make one house completely dedicated what I have done, etc., etc. What is that? These are all very, very temporary. How many kings name, the famous, the kings, how many names we remember? Nothing. They're all gone. In the pages of the history, those who are reading history or researching on that, they may be reading, that's all. Nothing is permanent. Then why we should spend our so much time on that impermanent thing? So Sri RamaKrishna is telling, God alone real and all else unreal. The world is illusory. That is the ultimate thing of Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta. God alone real, all else unreal. Unreal means it is there, of course there, but temporary. That is unreal. It's not that it is not there, it is there. There are some philosophical discussions, they go that this is not there, this is there, like that. We are not entering into that. It's because we know as long as I have the body-mind consciousness, as long as I feel hungry, as long as I feel sleepy, as long as I need some friends to talk to, I need the society to help me. So long this society, this world, everything is real, but it's for not permanent, it is temporary. So this, it says, God alone is real. And else, all else unreal. The world is illusory. That is the discrimination. Bichara, discrimination. Now, how to discriminate? One who can do it perfectly become very happy. Not that he will leave all his work. Not like that. He will be living, working, but at the same time he knows I should not become associated so much. This is not the ultimate goal of my life. Whatever I was having, I had, it's okay now. Now the limit, the time limit, some no more that long life is there. So I must try to realize God within this short period of time. So they go on praying and practicing. That is what God alone is real, all else is unreal, the world is illusory. That is the discrimination. One cannot assimilate spiritual instruction without discrimination. Unless and until we have this type of discrimination, we cannot assimilate the religion. Very, very, I do not understand at all. Some people, they go on supporting a person who is completely immoral. His lifestyle, his behavior, and the whatever way he talks, lives, everything is very, very worldly. How can he talk about God? And not only that, he is to claim that I am God myself, and whatever I say you must have to follow. Now it has been proved that he is completely a false, wrong person, and not only he is involved in killing people and characterless behavior. If I cannot discriminate at least this much, how can I expect that I will get the blessings of God? No. If I cannot discriminate this much, then I am not to be called as human being. Human being is that who is having the capacity to discriminate between the good and bad, real and unreal. A religious man means this. He can never associate himself with these temporary things, but he loves the people and helps them to understand this. So he comes to them, talk to them, guide them, inspire them. Yes, you must have to study, you must have to stand on your own feet, you must earn something to support yourself and the society and your family. But at the same time, my friend, you should not be completely attached to this. So that is called the spiritual guidance, proper spiritual guidance. Some people are telling, we are only true, others are wrong, so go and kill them. Wrong. They cannot be spiritual. They may be political. There may be political leaders and all, but not spiritual leaders. Spirituality is always guided by love, affection, and discrimination. Sri RamaKrishna is talking about. Through the practice of spiritual discipline, one attains perfection by the grace of God. So this is what ultimately he is telling. The practice of spiritual discipline. What is the spiritual discipline? Understanding the truth. Then the guidance of the Guru and continuously lifelong practice. When you came, we were young and we loved this ideology, but we are not very clear. They gave us some books we first read. Then if you decide to become a monk, leaving your hearth and home, dedicating your life for the service of God, and the God, as Swami Vivekananda and Sri RamaKrishna propounded, the practical Vedanta, the God who lives in the temple, the same God lives in human being also, in other beings also. The living gods and goddesses. So you have to go and serve them. Are you ready? And when you are doing it, should not hanker for money, name, fame, or anything. So this way the life, years after years, it went on and on and on and on. So that way it goes. That is called spiritual practices. So here Sri Ramakrishna is telling, through the practice of spiritual discipline, one attains perfection by the grace of God, but one must also labor a little. Then one sees God and enjoys the bliss. Then he says, vision, touch, enjoyment. First one sees the vision of God. It may be through dream, and it may be in a different way, the vision. Sometimes we see God in here and there. Because you are practicing, and suddenly you see somewhere, oh, it must be. So that way great joy comes. And that is not the end. Even you can go and touch God. You feel that you have really touched the feet of God or the hand of God. That is true. And finally, conversation, enjoyment. You are talking with God, living with God, in the holy company of God. Tremendous encouragement, and that gives you joy. So that is the ultimate. And he is asking his disciple, Master Maharshi, isn't so? Master Maharshi says, yes. Master Maharshi is a very educated person. He said, yes, sir. Then the Sri Ramakrishna continuing, he was silent for some moment, as if pondering. Then suddenly he broke the silence by telling these, those who are my own will come here, even if I scold them. So that is, suddenly he mentioned this, those who are my own will come here, even if I scold them. Scolding means that sometimes when we get all attention and respect and love, we feel like going over there. But when the Guru is scolding you, maybe that he is not talking to you, that means you have to break your ego and then still continue going over there. Because the ideology that you are going to the Guru means going to an ideology. And it's not the person. Person may change, but ideology will continue. It will remain all ever. So obviously you are going to the ideology and getting the benefit. So he is telling, those who are my own will come here. What is the here means? Idea and ideals of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. Then he is mentioning about Swami Vivekananda. His pre-monastic name was Narendra. Narendra is perfect from his birth. He is giving an idea about the Narendra. Why suddenly a young man, there were so many other disciples who were also there, why he chose Narendra as the leader? And he asked him, you have to guide, you should lead, because he is by birth perfect. What is the perfection? He was not having any attachment to these worldly things. Can you imagine a man of 29, 30 years when he came over here from a country which was completely unknown to the civilized world, India, to the modern world? They never knew about India. Rather, whatever they knew as wrong information. He came over here and all the doors of the rich and mighty opened unto him. Wherever he went, they all welcomed him, allowed him to stay with them, and they feel proud that Swamiji is staying with them. A group of people constantly accompanied him and helped him all over the world. They toured. Each and every place in America, that time he had to go and give lecture because people were eager. And he was only that time 29 years he came, 4 years he lived in this country, so that much. In 35 he was world famous. And when he went back to India, even the kings, they were walking and keeping him on the the horse carriage, removed the horses, and they themselves dragged. The famous king, Raja of Ramnath, he did it. He never hesitated. And he was feeling so happy. Can you imagine that? But Vivekananda was completely unattached to that. No I-ness, no that. He was telling, this is only that you see this body, this is an instrument. Someone else is working through this instrument. And that is so powerful, the power of God, that if He wants, that He can make hundreds of Vivekananda like me from the dust of the road. So that is the humbleness, because he knew completely. Sri RamaKrishna could see that. He said, Narendra is perfect from his birth. He is devoted to the ideal of the formless God. It is not easy, for all people cannot do it, formless God. But for this, another disciple who was talking with him, the Master Mahasaya, he was a householder, he asked him, do you practice fasting in the Ekadashi? So he is asking, Ekadashi, the lunar fortnight. One should fast on the 11th day of the lunar fortnight. That purifies the mind and helps one to develop love of God. He is inspiring him. His attitude was like that. So this way the master helping, and now we see another description, and that is December 26, 1883. Sri RamaKrishna, accompanied by Manilal Vallik, Master Mahasaya, and several other devotees, was in a carriage going his way to Ram's new garden. And this garden is known as nowadays as Yogodhan. Yoga means the union with God. Udyan means the park. This is the park, a place of joy where you can very easily get connection with God. Yogodhan. The garden which Ram had recently purchased was next to Shurendra, another rich man. Ram was a doctor, he was a rich man, he is a devotee of Sri RamaKrishna. And Shurendra was also a rich man, and they had the garden houses. All rich people, they used to have that type of garden houses. After the work, they used to go over there. But nowadays, all those places are very, very close to Calcutta, and that is Calcutta now, the bigger city it is. Ram adored Master as an incarnation of God. He visited Sri RamaKrishna frequently at Dakshineshwar. Manilal Mallik was a member of the Brahma Samaj. Manilal Mallik was also a landlord, and he used to live just adjacent to the Dakshineshwar temple. The Brahmas do not believe in divine incarnation, but Manilal Mallik used to respect and love Sri RamaKrishna. So in his carriage, Sri RamaKrishna was going along with other devotees. So from this description, we can understand how Sri RamaKrishna is doing his ministerial job. He is going to visit different people in different places, inviting others and talking with them, again from there to another place. Like this, he is to spread the message. In order to meditate on God, one should try at first to think of Him as free from upadhis, limitations. He is talking to Manilal. Manilal is a member of the Brahma Samaj. That time in the society, there was a confusion how God can have the form, different images. God is all pervading, everywhere. Obviously, and Hindus were having hundreds of images, and the Muslims and the Christians, they were not having. So influence of those two civilizations and the religions, that was very strong. So naturally, the intellectual group, they were having the debates continuously, whether God is having the form or without form. The majority of the people thought it is better to go for the without form, because then you need not to explain how God could come into that image, stone image or earthen image and something like that. And the traditional Hindus, they also closed their doors and windows and said, no, we are not going to talk to you, but whatever we feel, we will continue. So two groups, educated people, they opted for, and they formed one Brahma Samaj in the eastern part of India, and Prarthana Samaj in the western part of India, and the Arya Samaj in the northern part of India. Like that, a small group they formed, and same Hindu but without form. As because this Manilal Malli, he was a member of the Brahma. The Sri RamaKrishna is talking about the Brahman, and he said, in order to meditate on God, one should try at first to think of him as free from upadhi, or the limitation. Upadhi is a Sanskrit word. Upadhi means a different type of limitations. The God is having 4 hands, God is having this, God is having that, nothing. Completely free, all pervading. And then he said, God is beyond these limitations, upadhis. He is beyond speech and mind. But it is very difficult to achieve perfection in this form of meditation. Anyone can try to meditate on God without any image and can feel it is so hard, because our mind is trained to capture or to concentrate on something. Maybe it is sky, maybe it is ocean, maybe it is a color, maybe it is a sound, or whatever it may be, some form or other. Then it is very easy for us to concentrate without anything. How many can meditate on that, concentrate on that? It is almost impossible. So Sri Ramakrishna is telling it is possible, but very difficult, not for all. But it is easy to meditate. Then he is telling, it is easy to meditate on an incarnation, God born as man. He is giving the hints. And he is telling it is so easy. Why? Because just like a human being, he is talking, he is behaving like as we do. So obviously it becomes easy for us to associate with that. And when we are associating with that particular person, the God in the human form, Jesus is telling, who has seen the Son has seen the God, Father. Because the Father means the expression of all kindness, goodness. And same thing when you see in the human form, human being, why don't you accept him as an incarnation? So that manifestation is possible in any human being. But the Christendom immediately closed that he is the only begotten Son and no one can become like this. That is the problem. So why not? We can also become like him. So this he says in this way, it is very easy to meditate on an incarnation, God born as man. Yes, God in man. He is giving the stress, repeating twice. God in man. The body is a mere covering. Then what is actually that God? That in the Bhagavad Gita, 16th chapter, the first 3 sloka, 26 wonderful qualities has been given by Sri Krishna, the divine qualities. Those divine qualities, when manifested in a human form, human being, he is God. The God means the qualities. So that is the reason Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning, when you see those qualities into that particular person, why can't you call him God? He is the incarnation of God. He is like this, the body is a mere covering. Then he gives giving an example. It is like a lantern with a light burning inside. Sri Ramakrishna sat down in the house which stood to the south of the lake. Ram offered him a plate of fruit and sweets, which he enjoyed with the devotee. After a short time, he went around the garden. When we are reading this book, that particular place, it comes before my eyes. I can visualize because it is still there. That room, that seat where Sri Ramakrishna came and sat, and that particular pond, the lake, small lake, that is still there. Each and everything is there. And after reading this thing, after reading these descriptions, if one goes to that particular place and imagine that the Sri Ramakrishna is sitting over there and he is taking little fruits and sweets from the plate, talking with the devotees, imagine and go into that particular time. It's a wonderful meditation. And Sri Ramakrishna, he is sitting in that and taking. Next, Sri Ramakrishna proceeded towards Surendra's garden. He walked on foot a little distance and saw a sadhu sitting on a couch under a tree. At once he went up to the holy man and joyfully began a conversation with him. This is the specialty of Sri Ramakrishna. He was highly respected, and we can see all the rich people and who's of that society, that they used to worship him, respect him as their guru. But Sri Ramakrishna, the moment he saw a lone sadhu sitting over there, nobody knew him. But Sri Ramakrishna went to talk to him. Sri Ramakrishna is asking, to which order of monks do you belong? He is asking that monk. Because in the Hindu sannyasis, there are 10 different schools, small groups. That's called Dasa Nami Sampradaya. Sampradaya means the group, Dasa means 10, Nami means name. 10 different names are there. And Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning 2, Giri, Puri, etc. Unless and until you belong to these 10, then you are not considered accepted as a sannyasi in India. So Shankaracharya, he made these divisions, taking all the sannyasins together and giving these small groups, 10, according to their. So that is a different discussion. The one gentleman, he rang today. I couldn't talk to him, maybe that some other day we'll talk. He said, can I get the sannyasa? So this is also possible to get the sannyasa. That is also allowed after your life is over. Then you're free from your responsibilities. You can go to any sampradaya. They will ask you to practice some of the spiritual discipline and to prove that you are capable, then they will give you sannyas. For the Ramakrishna mission, it is not allowed. Ramakrishna mission, it goes as Sri Ramakrishna, he continued that, started that tradition, and now it is very rigidly followed. Then you have to have some educational background, a college graduate minimum. Age should be below 24, and sometimes when higher education, maximum 30, and particularly for the European and Americans, for the 30. You should not have any bondages in the, maybe that your mother or father or some family depending on you, you should not. And you should have the complete devotion and acceptance of the ideology of Sri Ramakrishna, Vivekananda. So these are the things, and you should be free from any diseases at particular moment. Then you are physically and mentally, you are fit, you are accepted. And after the acceptance, 1 year you have to stay with the ashrama in church, and then another 2 years He will send the name to the headquarters and another 2 years under observation. And after the 3 years, you are supposed to go to the headquarters for rigorous spiritual discipline. That's called the training center, we call it. And you have to study the scripture, you have to do many other things. Different type of examinations will go on. And after another 3 years, then you will get the brahmacharya, and you have to continue for another 4 years. The total, after completing 9 years, on the 10th year, if they find that you are really okay to get this sannyasa, they will bestow sannyasa. Why? Because it's very, very difficult to understand this ideology of sannyasa. Majority of the people, they go and they take a gerua clad, and then and some of them, they are now associated with the politics, some they are with the economy, selling things, having the business, some they are doing this, some they are doing that. People are confused why the sannyasins are behaving like this, but actually they are not truly sannyasi, because sannyasa doesn't mean only the cloth that you are wearing. Sannyasa means the ideology that you are following. And that ideology is love to all, peace to all, without discrimination. And it's very difficult. So Sri Ramakrishna is asking this Swami, to which the group you belong to. And the sadhu is telling, people call me Paramahamsa. This Paramahamsa is completely beyond all this. That is a very high stage. Parama means supreme. Hamsa means swan. So that is the supreme swan. That is a picture that you will find in the Ramakrishna Mission symbol. That means he is living in the world, but completely unattached of this world. But that is a very high stage, the Paramahamsa stage. Sri Ramakrishna immediately encouraging him. That is good. I am Shiva, that is good attitude. But I must tell you something else. See how the spiritual guru, he never knew him. This is the first time he is meeting him. But immediately he understood that he is under some wrong notion is guiding him. The process of creation, preservation and destruction that is going on day and night is due to Shakti, the power of God. This primal power and Brahman are one and the same. Shakti cannot exist without the Brahman, just as waves cannot exist without the water. There cannot be any instrumental music without an instrument. As long as God keeps us in His relative world, it's so practical, so long we feel that there are two. If one accepts Shakti, one accepts Brahman as well. If one is aware of night, one is also aware of day. If one is aware of knowledge, one is also aware of ignorance. But there is another state in which God reveals to His devotee that Brahman is beyond both knowledge and ignorance. It cannot be described in words. What exists, exists. And then the Sri Ramakrishna, holding the hand of the sannyasi, he was walking. And the holy man walking with him, Sri Ramakrishna looked upon him as a friend of long acquaintance. They walked arm in arm. Master Sri Ramakrishna, he reached the Surendra's garden. The first thing he talked about is the sadhu. He is a very nice man. And to Ramachandra he said, bring him to Dakshineshwar when you come. He is really a good man. Blessed is that sadhu, of course, because immediately, and he could recognize the goodness in him, and he's mentioning, a man cannot recognize a holy person unless he is holy himself. From that one, then he is mentioning that there are different type of forms, but it comes from the one. We will study that in our next class. Thank you very much. Niranjanam nityam anantarupam bhaktanukampa dhrita vigraham vai Ishavataram Parameshamidyam Tam RamaKrishnam Shirasa Namamaha. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri RamaKrishna Arpanamastu. Friends, you know that the September retreat, the coming month, we will have in the Ganges. This time the retreat will be the Vaishnava way of God realization. How the Vaishnavas, they approach to God and realize. So that is the thing for Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Total, the 5 lectures, 5 hours, and every hour is followed by half an hour question answer. So this will be, so if you like to register, you can go to online on our website. We have the beautiful place, Ganges we call it. This is a retreat, Vivekananda retreat. Arrangement for food and stay, everything will be there. So you can come over there, anyone.